And then, after the grain was switched out for barrels of rotting sardines, violently ill. She remembered that week and a half at sea in sweaty, nauseous flashes, head spinning, stomach lurching. But they'd made it. This port was the largest on Varn's coastline. Massive docks jutted out into the sea, bustling with sailors and fishermen and traders and seamen of all kinds. All human, as this was dirty work, hard labor, and therefore beneath Automae kind. Hundreds of ships docked here, some of them floating inns and taverns, many of them flying the royal colors green and white. Queen Junn's emblem was everywhere, a brilliant green phoenix clutching a sword in one clawed foot and a pickaxe in the other. Varn was a mining country, a nation of rolling hills and deep quarries, of iron, coal, precious metals, and gemstones buried deep beneath the earth. The air smelled like salt and fish and human sweat. The sun shone brighter than it ever did in the frozen north. Ayla hadn't been this warm in a long time. She hadn't been this warm since midnight, moonlight, soft bed, softer blankets, dark hair spilled across the pillow, a body beside her own, breathing too slow to be human. But Ayla wasn't thinking about that, or her now. She ducked out of the narrow alleyway she'd been hiding in and headed back toward the center of the port town, satisfied she'd thrown the second guard off her track. She'd given them no reason to chase her. The meat pies in her knapsack were paid for, thank you very much. But in a town of burly dock workers, a small, shifty-eyed girl stood out, drawing suspicion from humans and Automae alike. The port town was little more than a collection of inns and pubs, clinging like barnacles to the shore, every third building marked with the crest of a shipping company or major merchant. Bobbing just offshore was a cluster of houseboats and houses on stilts, floating like long-legged insects on the surface of the water where the stevedores lived. That was it. All the important business happened in the capital. Wherever you stood in the town, or in the port beyond, you could see the monolith of the white walls of Thallin rising up from the shore like strange, too perfect cliffs. Ayla didn't like looking at them for too long. It made her nervous, a capital city so deliberately hidden away. Walls that high, you had to wonder, were they keeping something out or in? Benji was waiting for her outside the Black Gull, a tavern that seemed busy at all hours of the day. It was a good place to meet if you didn't want to be noticed. Ayla sidled up next to him, sticking to the shadows below the sloping roof. They kept a careful distance between them, looking ahead, speaking only in whispers. Benji was smoking a pipe, presumably to look like he had a good reason for hanging outside the tavern instead of going in, which Ayla found hilarious. He grimaced with every inhale, clearly hating the entire experience. "You're late," he murmured, exhaling blue smoke. "Got tailed twice," she said, frowning. "Had to lead the leech guards on a merry chase for a while. I felt like a damn fox. The sooner we get into the city, the better. It'll be so much easier to blend in." "You're sure you lost them?" "Positive. Anyway, got a couple meat pies if you're hungry." He glanced over at her, and she couldn't help but glance back, just for a split second, just long enough to catch a glimpse of his face, tawny skin and big doe eyes, the freckles on his nose visible even in the shadows. "You know full well I'm always hungry." "How could I forget the bottomless pit?" she said.